what about this equation told you that you have to distribute so that we could get started?
You have a number outside of the equation.
Outside of the what?
Parentheses, and there's an equation inside of the parentheses, and there's not exactly a way to solve that, so you have to distribute it to make it a way for you to solve it.
Good. So the first thing that we should have noticed is what Philip pointed out to us. With those numbers on the outside of that parentheses, that means that we have to do the distributive property, right? The distributive property means to do what, Cassie?
To distribute what's on the outside of the parentheses, multiply it by everything on the inside.
Very good. To take what's on the outside of those parentheses and multiply it by everything that's on the inside of the parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to finish up your starting gate before we go over it. Okay, and remember, make sure that you're doing that distributive property that Philip pointed out to us.
Can it be, is it decimal?
It's always possible. How can you check your answer and tell if it's correct? Thank you, sir. Someone answer Jack's question. How do we know if our answer is correct once we get that final answer? Nick, what do you have? What do you mean check it? Very good. You can check it, right? If both sides of your equation equal the same thing, right? If each side of your equation, if it makes a true statement, then you know that your answer is correct. So when you get that final answer, if it doesn't seem right, we can always check it and make sure that we are either correct or that we're wrong, so we can go back and fix that problem. Okay, what do you think you did wrong?
I distributed it wrong.
Okay. Your distribution looks perfect to me.
But I got this.
Okay, so after you distributed, what did you do?
I subtracted 5x.
Okay, why did you subtract 5x?
Because that was one of the easiest ways to get rid of the 5x.
Okay, good. So then what'd you do?
I subtracted 5x over here, and we got 7x. And then 70 plus 6 equals negative 10.
Good.
And
Okay.
I subtracted 6, which that guy went away, and that made it negative 16.
Sounds good.
And that would give you 7.
Jack. Yep, go ahead.
That would give you 7x, and then 7x divided by 7 gives you x.
Okay.
And it would, so negative 16 divided by 7 would give you that number.
Okay, so what makes you think that it's wrong?
Oh, I guess it can be a...
Right, it could definitely be a decimal or fraction, right? Okay, now I would just suggest when you're plugging it back in to make sure that it works to use the fraction format of it.
Okay.
Right, do you remember how to change your decimal to a fraction in your calculator?
Yeah, don't do it like PRB.
Off task.
PRB.
Second PRB, yep.
It says second PRB.
Okay, so try plugging that number back in and you can check and see if your answer is correct. How are you doing, Evan?
So far, kind of good.
Okay.
I got kind of stuck after that.
Where did that plus sign come from? What should it be? Very good, very good. Yes.
I subtracted 5 from the side.
Okay.
I mean, first thing I did was add 10.
Okay, that works.
16.
Okay.
I got 12x plus 16. And then on this side,
What would have been left on that side?
negative 10? No, 5x minus 10.
Okay, so what did you just add to both sides?
I know it'd be 5x equals 12x plus 6.
Very good. That's a good step so far.
And then after that, I did 12x minus 5x.
Okay.
And no, I did 5x minus 12x.
Okay, that would have been fine.
Negative 7
Okay.
was negative 7.
We'll see. Give me a second.
Negative 7 x plus 6, and I would divide by negative 7 to 16, and I got 2.28, and that wasn't right. I checked.
Okay, wait. Did you get 2.28 or did you round to 2.28?
I rounded.
Okay, remember we talked about with equations you can't round, right? Because an equation has that one specific answer, right, most of the time. So what you can do is, the work you did sounds perfect. What I would do would be to change that decimal to a fraction. So hit that second and PRB button and change it to a fraction, and then plug it in using that. Okay, because remember, if you rounded answer is a lot different than the other one. Hannah, sign up.
Did I distribute correctly?
Yes, sir. Looks good so far. Keep it up. Your work's looking good so far. All right, yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
Getting the same answer.
Okay, so you did. Okay, wait, where'd plus come from?
Because I thought you had to change the sign.
No, ma'am. So the only reason we would change that sign is if it was a negative on the outside, right? Because positive 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So you need to keep that a minus. Okay.
Is that right?
Did you try to check your answer for this one?
Yeah, I got negative 12.
So you used this answer though?
Yeah.
And you plugged it into there?
Yeah.
And you got the same answer on both sides?
No. It was negative 21.36 for this side.
Okay, then that means something's wrong. Then it means something's wrong.
This morning, so I can turn
Absent work. Okay, give it to me at the end of class and I'll stick it in the correct stuff so that it doesn't get counted late. Okay.
Is there an answer to this?
Yeah.
I don't think there is. I'm missing a solution.
Why do you think it's not a solution?
Because there's nothing easy right here.
Get your x's on the same side.
That's equal 17 then.
So you get your X on one side, so
So how would you get rid of that 5x over there?
put it over here.
How do you put it over there? You got to do an operation. How would you move it?
Add 5x.
What kind of 5x is over there? Is that a positive 5x or a negative 5x?
Positive.
So how do you get rid of a positive 5x? What's the inverse? You got to subtract 5x.
I have a question. Are they still minus and plus in each side?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I forgot to turn my homework in important.
Okay, you can put it over in the late bin. Yes, ma'am. How are we doing so far?
When you distribute it all,
Okay.
when you do your x's, would you get negative 7x?
Yes.
Subtract 10 equals 6.
Looks good so far.
And then just solve,
Right, get all your x's on one side and you can get all your constants on the other.
just solve that.
Would you use minus 10 and 6, or would you do plus?
Wait, where'd plus come from?
Because 5x subtract 2 and add 3.
Right, so that's a minus, so it's got to be minus 10. It stays as a minus.
5, right?
All right, let's go over this problem on the board. So a lot of us, some of us seems like we're there, some of us not so much.
I'm confused. Do I have to, did we add products, or did we?
I don't know where 1 came from. Distributive property, everything on the inside gets that 6, right? All right, so let's go over this one on the board. I'm actually going to go over this one with you guys, okay? We'll have a chance for you guys to share a little bit later in class because a lot of us kind of got stuck with this one, okay? I think there's a few misconceptions that we have. All right, so we have our first step, as Philip said, was to use the distributive property, right? So if I use the distributive property, remember everything on the inside of our parentheses has to get multiplied by that 6. So for my first step, Kaylee, what would my first step look like?
5x minus 10 equals 12x plus 6.
Good. How'd you get those numbers?
Because when you distribute inside to the parentheses, the 5 goes to the x, and the 5 gets multiplied by 2, which will give you the 10. Or and then the second part, you distribute the 6 and the 2x, which gives you 12x, and then you put the addition sign, then you distribute 6 times 1, which is 6.
Very good. One thing that I saw that some of you guys were doing, you were changing this minus sign to a plus sign. Okay, we can't just change the signs, right? The only way that sign is going to change is if I'm multiplying by a negative 5 on the outside. Okay, if I'm multiplying by a positive 5, it's going to stay as a negative 10 on the inside, or a minus 10, which means the same thing. Yes, sir?
You said that everything in the slide of parentheses we get multiplied by the 6. That's not true for every equation.
Yes, it is. If you have a distributive property and there's things that are on the inside of the parentheses, every single thing gets that thing on the outside. Doesn't matter how many things you have on the inside.
So you said by the 6.
Well, by the 6 for this case, yes, sir. Okay. All right, next step. What might I do next? What do you have?
Oh, crap.
Remember, this next step, there's more than one way to go. Okay, so you might have done something a little different than Evan. Evan, what'd you do?
What I did was I added 10 to the 10.
Okay, so you added 10 here.
And then
Okay.
I just got rid of that.
Okay, so what do you mean got rid of it?
Like I just X'd it out. Like you don't need it anymore.
Why not? Evan? Why not?
I have no idea.
Cons-
It just seems right to me.
He said it seems right. We don't need it anymore. Why do we not need it, Morgan?
Because negative 10 plus 10 is
Very good. That's why it's not needed. Good, Evan. So then what else did you do?
I added 10 to the 6 on the other side.
Very good. Okay, so when I add 10 to both sides, what's my next step? Where is it left? You can move that up if you need to.
5x equals 12x plus 16.
Very good. Questions on that step Evan just took?
I forgot the x.
Oops, thank you. Questions on that step? All right, Mac, what's the next step?
I subtracted 12x.
Okay, we can do that. Subtract 12x. All right, Mac, if we subtract 12x, what do we end up with?
And then equals 16.
Good. Questions on that step? All right, the last step, Nick. Go ahead. Nick, what would the last step be?
You would divide -7 both sides.
Okay, why am I divided by -7 on both sides, Nick? Why am I doing that?
You have to get x by itself.
Very good, because I want the x by itself. So if I divide both sides by -7, what is that 16 divided by -7? What is it equal to, Nick? Got a problem with that answer. Slight problem with that answer. Levi, what do you have?
2 and 2 7.
Is it 2 and 2 sevens?
Negative.
Very good. -2 and 2 sevens. Slight problem with the answer that Nick gave me at first. He said -2.29, is that right? What's my problem with his answer?
I said
Excuse me. I'm sorry?
I said -2.28.
Okay, -2.28. What's the problem with that answer? Jack?
You rounded it. You can't round it.
Very good. You round it. So now if I said round your answer to the nearest blah, then yes, that'd be a perfect answer. So you obviously knew the processes and you got where you needed to be. But if you plug in -2.28, it's not going to work when you go to plug it back in. It's got to be exact. And if I remember correctly, most of you guys, when you typed that in, you got some crazy decimal, right? Went on forever and ever. Okay? We don't want to round. Because if we try to round that number and plug it back in, it's not going to work. Okay, so we want an exact answer. So remember, we can get that exact answer by hitting that second and that PRB button, and that'll give us the fraction value. Okay, questions on today's starting gate? Questions on today's starting gate? All right, so for your starting gates, go ahead and put that away. Put that away. And then I actually want you to clear your desk off of everything except for your pencil and your calculator. Okay, pencil and a calculator. Do what? No. Let's go, Matt. Get what you need and return to your seat quickly. It doesn't take that long.
Did you say today's review day?
No. Yes. All right, pencil and a calculator. Tyler, pencil and a calculator. Chris, pencil and a calculator. Thank you. Trey, pencil and a calculator. So move the rest of it. Thank you. All right. So for today, I told you guys before that we're going to be reviewing a little bit. So we've been working on equations, and I told you guys we're going to continue working on equations for quite a long time. Pretty much everything we do from here on out is about equations. And Trent, really? Okay, almost anything we do from here on out is going to deal with equations. I saw that a lot of you guys had issues with the word problems, right? Raise your hand if you're not as comfortable with word problems, right? And that's most of us, right? Most of us, if we get a good equation, we can solve them. We're pretty good with the arithmetic. But when we get a word problem, figuring out how to decipher the word problem, how to figure out what means what in the word problem, and how to write an equation is where we seem to struggle. So that's what we're going to review today, and that's what we're going to work on. Okay, so our objective for the day, hopefully by the time that you leave, okay, is that I can create an equation from a word problem and evaluate that equation. That means solve the equation. So our work for today is going to be working on solving and writing word problems, equations from word problems, should I say. Okay, so we're going to be working with a partner today. No, you don't get to pick your own. You know better than that. Okay, we're going to be working with a partner. We're going to have one partner, okay? We're going to have one group of 3, and that's this group right here, just for sake of numbers. I would like for Hannah, you to scooch up and sit right there in front of Elizabeth, okay? So I'm going to pass out a set of cards to each group. Okay, your job is to get the tan-colored sheets out, and close up the envelope. Get the tan colored sheets out and close up the envelope. You have the same partners as you always do, right? Just going right down the side, right? Same as always. Guys, we don't need to talk to get it out. Okay, get out the tan colors, just close the envelope and set it to the side. We don't need to seal it. We're going to get in it in just a minute. Okay, get out the tan colored sheets only, Nathan. Tan colored sheets only, Philip. The tan colored sheets only, close the rest of it back up in the envelope. Okay, tan colored sheets only, close the rest of it back up in the envelope. Okay, tan colored sheets only, the rest goes in the envelope. Okay, you're going to be working with that partner that you always work with every day that we do something like this. All right, on your cards you have 4 equations, or 4 word problems, should I say. We have a word problem A, a word problem B, a word problem C, and a word problem D. Okay, our job today in class is to use these 4 word problems to practice how to write equations. Okay, so what you're going to be doing with your partner is working on filling out one of these worksheets using the 4 word problems that you have in front of you. Well, it's stuck together, it doesn't want to come apart. Okay, on this sheet it states important information from the word problem. So your first step with your partner is to read your word problems, A, B, C, and D, and underline any important information that is given in that word problem that you would use to create an equation. Okay, so yes, you are able to write on these cards. Okay, you're going to underline any important information that would be useful in creating an equation from the word problem. Once you and your partner agree on all of the important information, and you agree that everything is underlined that it would be needed, give me 1 second, I'll grab it from you, and that everything is underlined that would be needed, your job with your partner is to fill it in on the sheet. I'll get it in just a second. Okay, so in that first box it says important information from the word problem. In these boxes, write the important information from the word problem. Okay, after you and your partner agree on that important information, you underline it on the card, you fill it in. Your next step says, what is the equation that matches the word problem? I'll get it in a minute. What is the equation that matches the word problem? It says in these boxes, write the equation that matches the word problem and solve for that missing information. Then, under each part of the equation, write what that part stands for from the word problem. Okay, so our first step, look at these 4 cards, underline the important information. Once we get it underlined with our partner, we're going to fill in that important information in the first column. You understand what we're doing here, Nick? Okay. Second step, what equation goes with that important information? For the equations, I have created the 4 equations for you. I don't want them out yet. I do not want you to pull out those green cards until you finish with your important information in this first column. You may then pull out the green cards, figure out which equation matches which situation. That's why I'm asking you which equation matches. Okay? And you're going to fill in the equation that matches the situation. Solve the equation. Okay? Once you work with your partner to solve the equation, the last column says, interpret what the solution means. That means, if the solution is 2, what does the 2 mean based on the situation? Does the 2 mean that there are 2 cars in the parking lot? Does the 2 mean that there are 2 students that have a B in a certain class? What does the 2 represent? That's what I'm asking. Okay? Once you finish all 3 sets, we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to give you something independently to do. Okay? Questions on what it is you're doing? Yes, sir.
Can you solve these blackboard?
No, I want you to solve them on this sheet. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can use a highlighter or you can underline it. If you have highlighters, great. If you don't, just use your pencil and underline it. Any other questions on what you're about to do with your partner? All right, good luck. So, well, remember, the other thing that I want you to do is to tell me what each piece of your equation represents. Okay, so underline, so like for your 50, underline, tell me what that 50 stands for. So what does your 50 stand for in your equation?
How much each box weighs?
Will you answer for me, Zeke, please?
Each box weighs.
Okay, exactly. That's exactly what I want. Where did each piece of your equation come from? And then I want you to solve it.
All right.
Okay?
This is
What they want?
C if they're supposed to read color.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir.
We have to include like the small details, like selling price of the television.
Well, what do you mean? Do you have to include it?
Do you have to include the just the numbers?
Oh, okay. So if you're writing like that the numbers are important, I do want you to tell me like what the number represents. Yes, sir, because that's going to help you in that second column. Okay. Yes, sir.
I just saw this.
Okay.
Not the way you want it.
Okay. What does that mean? Not the way that I want it.
Like I know to do minus 160.
Okay.
And that gives you like 840. You're
Okay.
gonna do the 840 divided by.
Well, that's the way I would want you to solve it, isn't it? Yeah. But now remember, there is one more thing that I'm asking for here, though. I do want you to underline and tell me what each piece of your equation represents. So, like, what does that 50 stand for?
The boxes.
What about the boxes?
How much they weigh.
Exactly. What does that 160 stand for?
The person's weight.
Exactly. What does the 1,000 stand for?
The capacity.
Very good. That I want you to tell me that. I want you to tell me where each piece of your equation is, what it means, and then just solve it the way that you just did. But good. What are we doing? Okay, hurry up and head back.
Can it be like more than half a box, but it's not a full box?
Maybe half of a box, but not a full box. What do you mean?
Like this one is just, it's actually 16.8.
Okay.
Can it be like that, or?
No, because right, they're not going to cut a box in half and take half a box, right? So it's either going to take this many boxes or this many boxes. So if you have the choice, would you round up or would you round down? What do you think?
We would have to round down.
Why?
That's, if you go up, you're gonna go over the limit.
Very good. Very good. Good. Right, that's okay. Yep. But for the exact reason that you gave me, that's why it's okay.
Now what else should I do on this side?
Jeremy, focus.
This side you saw the top.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
What else should I do on this side? Because I've already solved it.
Oh, like what do you do in that box, you mean? Okay, in this box, I do want you to underline each part of the equation and tell me what it represents. So like, for instance, what does the 50 represent?
The 50, how much the box of books weigh?
Okay, I want you to tell me that. What does the 160 represent?
Him,
Very good. And what does the 1,000 represent?
limit.
Very good. So that's good. And then you already have it solved. You did a good job with that. But now in 16, where I said interpret what the solution mean, like what does 16 mean?
It's the number of boxes of books you can have.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I want you to write for me. Good. How we doing, Tyler?
I'm just waiting for them to write it down.
Okay. How are you doing, Isaac? You guys getting through it? Okay, making sure you guys are working together, okay?
Did we put them cards out after?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're no longer potatoes, they're taters.
They're taters. Nice. Very nice.
So here's the first one.
How are we doing, Jenna?
I mean,
You guys have all of your important information? Okay, yes. So now you grab your equations out of your envelope, okay, and you match. Figure out which equation matches with which card situation. Okay, once you get them matched, make sure that you follow the directions. The next set of directions says, once you figure out which equation goes with which situation, to tell me what each part of that equation represents and then solve. Okay? Very nice. You guys just motoring through this, aren't you? Very good. Philip, are you on task? Okay. Yes, sir. 1 second, I'll grab you one.
I wrote it in the wrong spot.
Oh, not a problem. Yes, sir.
On B, what does 3? I put whole save.
Okay, so which card does it represent?
B.
Card set B. Okay, card set B says the selling price of a television in retail is $66 less than 3 times the wholesale price.
So is it 3 times the wholesale price? And so it's 66 less than the wholesale.
It says 66 less than 3 times the wholesale. Good. Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you, Fisher.
Can we just do we just rewrite the answer and what it means?
So over here, it's what does the answer mean? So like when you get that answer of 321, okay. What does 321 mean based on the situation?
The price of the selling price of
That's exactly what I want you to write.
So we don't rewrite
The work you mean over there?
just the answer.
So you're going to tell me what the answer is and what it means. So what does 321 represent?
Okay, so all I have to do is just put like say x equals and then write out what it means.
So tell me what it means. But now the one thing I did catch here that you forgot to do is it does say to underline each part and tell me what it represents. So like in this equation, what does your 50 represent?
Pounds of books weigh in a box.
Very good. What does the 160 represent? Very good. And what's the 1,000? Exactly. I want you to tell me that. Looks good, Jessica. Yeah, that looks perfect. Looks very good. Trey, we have an issue? Okay, let's get to work.
I was just gonna ask if I could drink.
Yes, sir, you may.
Are those right?
Well, that's something I want you guys to figure out. Why do you think this one matches card today? So I want you to think through. So based on the important information you guys underlined, the stuff that you said would probably make it into the equation, I want you to find the equation you think matches. But your important information should find its way in that equation that you think matches. Okay, so like for card set A, it's talking about some weights of some stuff, right? Okay, so the important information you guys have listed is that the guy weighs 160, the box is 50 pounds, and the total capacity is 1,000. Good, that's good information you guys pulled. You guys are saying this equation matches. Where in this equation can you see the information that you guys thought was important?
50 x is the box. 160 is a guy's weight. 1,000 is 2.
Exactly, and that's exactly how I want you guys to justify which equation you think matches. So your important information you should be able to see in the equation that you think matches it. Okay, so make sure, good, that you write down what each part stands for. So writing down what each part stands for is going to help us figure out which one matches as well. Yes, sir, you may.
Is this like, instead of underlining, I'm just like writing?
On the side, that's fine. Not a problem at all. Yes.
Write down what part stands
Tyler,
for. Solve it.
you working? That pencil's up in the air, I can't tell.
So once you write like this is the boxes or whatever, do you solve it?
Then you solve it, yes ma'am. Tyler, what's the issue, sir?
What?
What's the issue? Oh, there's a whole, you guys have to finish this whole thing to be done. After you finish this column, your next step is to get the equations out.
I thought we were
Okay, so you're gonna get your equations out, figure out which equation matches with which situation. Okay, then you're gonna tell me what each part of the equation means and solve the equation. Does that make sense? Okay. One quick second. Yes, Lydia? No, sir. Oh, ma'am, sorry. Yeah, so you're just grabbing out the next set, figure out which one matches with the important information you have, tell me what each part of your equation represents, and solve it. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
How would I put this into how would I even begin to solve it? Like, and then I gotta
How would you solve it? What does your partner think?
I think you would add 66 to 899
Why?
and divide by 3. Because if you use the balancing method,
Okay.
you would make you would add it to the 899 and then cross out the 66.
Okay.
And you would do the opposite of multiply and divide by 3.
Sounds beautiful to me.
Okay, and I have a question about this one.
Okay.
For the 3x, or just the 3, that would be what we're multiplying by 66. But for
What we're multiplying by the wholesale price, right? It says times the wholesale price.
66 be the wholesale?
No, it says the selling price in a retail store is $66 less than 3 times the wholesale price. So what has to be the wholesale price? What would represent the wholesale price? What do you think, Elizabeth? What represents the wholesale price? So it says the selling price of the store in a retail store. There we go. Very good. Because that's the thing we don't know, right? So the thing that we're trying to find, which is the wholesale price of the TV, that's always our variable. So the thing you don't know is always going to go in the variable spot.
66 would be our selling price? No, that's what we don't know. We don't know our wholesale.
We don't know the retail price.
Right.
The wholesale price, right? So it says the selling price of a TV in a retail store is $66 less than 3 times the wholesale price. So it's hello.
Do you have Chris Rearville or something like that?
Yes, he's in the bathroom right now.
Oh, is he?
Yes, yes. Okay, so the selling price of a TV in a retail store is $66 less than 3 times the wholesale price.
So what we're dividing?
Are you dividing?
No, we're subtracting.
Exactly. So it's what you're subtracting to get the wholesale price. Yes, ma'am. Looks good, Kayla. Looking good, looking good. Money, only if it's like 3 cents in the bag, right? So if you're talking about money is hundreds, right? So 2 spots behind the decimal point. So if there's anything behind that, yes. So like when we go to a store and we buy something, even if it was some type of a sale or something and we got certain money off, it would only round it to those 2 cents behind the decimal point because of money we talk about hundreds. So yes, ma'am. Give me 1 quick second. Yes, ma'am. Look at you guys.
About, or would it have to be an exact answer?
Well, it depends on what the question is asking. So what is that question asking for us to find? Mac, why are you off task again? I don't care. You're off task. You're not finished because you have a whole entire column that is blank. I'm sorry, what did you say?
It's asking how many people attended the fair.
Okay, so this is the problem you were solving, correct? Okay, so how did you try solving that?
I tried 3 times 11 plus 5.5 plus 6, and I got 15.
Okay, so this is the equation that I gave you? Okay, the first thing I want you to do is actually solve the equation using the balancing method, like you know. Okay, so then once you solve the equation, did you get some type of a decimal? Is that what happened? What decimal did you get?
Like 10.8.
Okay, so we got 10.8 something, right? Okay, and was the question how many people could attend the fair or something like that? Okay, and so you rounded it to 11, right? So they gave us a certain amount of money we had to spend, right? So if 11 people go, would we be able to pay for it with the $51? So then 11 people can't go, right? So even though we had a little bit of money left over, right, in that case it'd be better to round down, right, because of the fact that technically 11 people can't go, but 10 people could. Good. Yes, sir.
On this one,
3x minus 66 equals 899. I added 66 to this one.
Okay.
Not 65, then I divided by 3 and came up with a never-ending decimal.
That's fine. That's fine. How do you change that fraction, that decimal to a fraction?
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if we could do fractions.
What exactly are we doing? We're just writing the answer.
So for here, you're telling me in words, what does that answer mean? That's exactly right.
Is that right or no?
What do you mean, is it right?
Is that right?
Yes, I would put it in fraction form. That's okay. But now, come on back, I'll take a look. Okay, so yeah, so like if your answers are...
If this one was in fraction form, you can't put fourth at the bottom.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I want you to think through. So I want you to solve it and find the actual answer. But then, yes, then interpret that answer based on your situation. So if that situation says how many boxes can you bring, realistically, can they take 16 and 4/5 boxes? No, right?
So they're supposed to.
Yes, yes ma'am. Because in real world situations, realistically speaking, a lot of times it would be a decimal. Although we know that really you can't have a decimal of a box, right? So we would have to choose either to round down or to round up for the number of boxes. So good. Yeah, it looks great.
A question instead of C. My question is, wouldn't it be easier to round the 16.8 just to 16?
Why?
Because you'll have less than 1,000 either way.
Yes, sir. So in your final answer, in that interpret answer, so you need to find the answer like you guys did. You guys did a great job on that. But in that last question where it says interpret your solution, that's where you're going to have to tell me that. Yes, sir. Good. So you're just thinking a little bit ahead, but good. Yes.
I got this, and it looks right, so it is. I need 65 divided by.
I think it's so wide up here.
I got that. When I turn it to fractions.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. This is a U try. I want this on the bottom of that paper, one per group. Right now we have a U try. The bottom of this paper, one per group. Yes.
What would you do? Would you add 66 and then, or would you do 899 divided by 3 and then add 66?
I don't know. Which one are you supposed to do first?
I guess add 66, but then we add 66 and then divided it by 3, and it came up like 321.6.
So what's the problem with that?
So just 321.
Well, the answer is whatever the answer is, but then when you interpret the answer, you do whatever you need to do to interpret
Do we
it.
write these on here?
Yes. You guys are all done? Very good. Let me give you your next step. No, you're supposed to work with your... Why are you working all by yourself? No, I cannot. This is a partner activity. Work with your partner to get it done so you can move on. It goes on the... This is your partner work on the bottom. Yes, sir, you may. Are you guys working on the last one? Okay, good. Yes. One per group. Make sure both names are on it. How are we doing over here? You guys all done? Okay, when you both get done, let me know. Yes, ma'am.
What do you do when you get that for an answer?
Okay, how did you get that as your answer?
Well, for this one, I combined it like terms. And I
Okay, so what did you combine?
the 3.5 and the 5.5, and I got 9x.
Okay, so then what did you...
And then I brought down the problem.
Yes, you. Then what?
I brought down the rest of the problem.
Okay.
It's 9x plus 6 equals 5.
Wait, that was a 51?
Oh, 50.
You lost your one. Yes. Yes, you create the equation, solve it, and see if your answer makes sense based on the situation. Yes, ma'am. Yes. You guys are good? Very good. Once you and your partner finishes.
897.
How are we doing?
I'm saying I got 897. They got 900. This doesn't even make sense.
Can't you do 3.21.66?
I did 3.21 times 3 minus 66 and got 897.
As far as for checking your work, you mean?
Yeah.
What's the problem with plugging that in and checking your work? What did we say happens when you have decimals that you round?
Then you had to okay.
Because when you round with a decimal and you try it doesn't work in the equation. That's the problem with rounding, right? Yeah. So your answer when you get a decimal, if you change it to a fraction, then you know it is the exact answer. So then if you need to round for like purposes of answering a question, that's fine. But as far as for your solution, definitely need the exact answer in order to plug it in and check it. Okay, good. Very good.
We're done.
I don't like that equation at all. That equation looks nothing like the equations we've worked with, right? Work on that equation again. Very good. I want you guys to try this one now. No, that one. All done? Wonderful. I want you to try this one. Jack. Should you be yelling? Guys, our volume level's gotten a little bit too loud. Okay, you should still be working with your partner to finish up this activity. If you're done, let me know. I have the next thing for you to try. We're done. Oh, wonderful. Most of your groups have gotten a U try. Okay, a U try, yeah. Some of your groups have not because you haven't finished yet, and that's absolutely okay. It took some of us a little longer than others, and that's okay. If you have the U tries, okay, technically you have finished, you've gotten to the point that I want you to be at so that you are ready to share your U tries. Okay, we won't have time to share until tomorrow, which is absolutely okay. Okay, but if you have not finished your word problems, right? We had to go through, find our important information, write it down. We had to go through, match our equations. Which equations match the word problem? right? We had to figure out what did each part of our equation stand for. Okay, so that we knew that it definitely matched the word problem. Solve the equation, and then we had to interpret our solution. So if you did not finish with all 5 parts of that sheet, that is your homework. You must finish it to turn it in as a finished product tomorrow. Okay, if you have finished it, great. Great, I'm going to collect those on your way out in just a little bit. Okay, so make sure that your name is at the top of that sheet. If you have finished it, you're going to be able to turn yours in. If you and your partner has already finished the you try, okay, I want you to make sure both names are on it. You're going to turn that in with your longer sheet that has all of your word problem practice. Hopefully working through, okay, the matching and deciphering the word problem helped you create your own equations with the you try. If you and your partner did not get a chance to do the you try because you did not finish your word problem practice, that's okay. Okay, you will do the you try tomorrow. You will do the you try tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to share our you try problems, where we're going to get up, we're going to explain to the class what our word problem was, what is the important information that was given in our word problem, and how we solved that word problem and interpreted our solution. So we're going to finish that up tomorrow. So with the time that we have left, which isn't much, okay, I want all calculators put back up. All calculators put back up. All of your materials, if you're done. Is that Ms. Rice again? Okay. All of your materials, if you are done with your envelope, stick everything inside of there, and then on your way out, you're going to recycle that information because we don't need it any further.